Are you researching about tax? Are you doing all the dirty work? Because, man, it's easy to sit there and dream about becoming a millionaire, but unless you're doing it, you don't really want it. Not really. Success isn't about what you did yesterday. It's about what you're doing today. It's the 7th of April. It's 7:30, and I'll be waking up in 4.5 hours tonight. Well, I've been getting a few comments from people saying I haven't even been sleeping my 4 hours, which I've been supposed to be getting. So I'm going to bed at 7:30 tonight. So waking up about 4.5 hours. So hopefully that'll feel better. Cheers. See you in the morning. I was just thinking about a mate I had from years ago. He was always full of so much motivational talk. He could literally talk you into anything. And I'd do a bit of amateur boxing out the back at his place. And it was literally like a chicken wire fence with star pickets. That was the boxing ring. And yeah, we'd get in there with all of the fellas from around town, have a few boxing matches, and then we'd do push-up challenges and sprints and all kinds of physical activities. And most of the fellas in town just sort of wanted to, you know, have a bit of fun and then sit on the couch. And this guy, he was real energetic and quite disciplined, been working out since he was very young. And he'd always be trying to talk everyone into and encourage everyone to, you know, do some push-up challenge or go harder or one more rep or whatever. And he was quite persuasive, and he did manage to talk some people into it, but generally people were like, nah man, I've had enough, I'm done, I've been running around the block all day. I don't want to freaking do push-ups. But he could always talk me into it because I was just a bit crazy. Didn't really even have to talk me into it, but if I was like at the end of the rope, if anyone could talk me into it, he could. And man, he wanted to be a boxer, and I wanted to, you know, be a piano player, and I was always into fitness as well. I wanted to be a big music star. Anyway, fast forward 10 years later, you grow up, you don't hear from people, you don't sort of know what they've been doing. And I eventually discovered he was on Instagram, and I checked his Instagram account, and it's like, yes, he's still on it. He's still doing his fitness, he's still hitting the gym every day, and he became a boxer. And it's like, yeah, man, you're still on your shit. Anyway, it makes me feel so proud. So am I. I'm still on my game. Still doing my thing. Ugh. And that's what it's all about. It's a daily thing. It's a daily thing. Success isn't about what you did yesterday. It's about what you're doing today. You know, so many people, you hear about their big dreams and their goals and their aspirations. And you're like, oh man, it'd be so cool if that person, you know, grew up to do what they always dreamed of. And then you meet them 10, 15 years later and they've just got relaxed in life, got a big beer gut, a couple of kids, and they've just sort of relaxed into mediocrity. Not saying having a family is mediocrity, but you know, they just sort of stopped chasing their dreams, got fat, got happy, and that was that. And to me, it's always such a damn sad sight to see. And so to see this kid out there, he become a boxer, I'm like, yeah, go man, stay on it. I'll still be doing my thing when I'm 50. I'm sure he will be too, and I hope he is. That's what inspires me, because so many of those other kids just aren't doing that much with themselves. I always had a feeling about that kid. He was so motivated, he was so driven, and he was the only person that ever bet me in an arm wrestle. And, you know, I was so devastated about that. I trained like the freaking Hulk for 2 years, literally in the gym, and I come back and beat him. And I think he had to admire my determination. But as far as fitness goes, man, he was the only person that could keep up with me. He may have even been a bit ahead of me in ways. It's so easy for people to talk, you know. So many people, everyone knows what you gotta do. It's not hard. Everyone knows you should work out and eat healthy. Everyone can talk. Talk is so cheap. Man, but to see him 10 years later, still on his game, still in the gym every day, and he'd become a boxer, and all of that stuff that he talked about, his mindset, his motivation, we'd be sitting there, we'd be listening to motivational tapes. He'd be playing all these motivational videos, and he'd be saying all this motivational stuff. We'd be listening to Eminem and some of the rap music of the time. It's so cool to see that he really was what he said he was, and has lived every word of it. And they're the kind of people I listen to. Yeah. So if there's a takeaway from all that, it's if you're going to take advice from anybody, man, take advice from someone who's living their words every single day. Anyone can say anything, doesn't mean anything. But if they're on their game, if they're living their words every single day and they are who they say they are and it's worked for them, then that's who I'd be taking advice from. going to message him right now. Alright, I'm going to message him and write, stay hard. I listen to a lot of David Goggins, so he should get the reference. I dare say he would too. You know, I think about aging a lot. I mean, just coming up on 30 is a bit scary, but I know I'm still young. In fact, I'm probably coming into the prime of my life. I think it's about 33, or at least that's according to the Bible, that a man hits the prime of his life. And that's sort of the age I always felt like I would enter, like, full on being a man. Not that I'm not a man, but, you know, like full man strength and taking on all of the responsibilities and burdens of being a man. I've been happy to give myself a longer maturity process because I didn't want to end up like Michael Jackson. I didn't have a childhood. And I think that sometimes the largest and strongest trees that last the longest take the longest to grow. I didn't want to grow up too quick because I don't think that that's the best way to develop, actually. And so I've been happy to give myself a longer maturing process. But at the same time, I'm aware I'm getting older. You know, 30s only leads to 40s, which only leads to 50s, which, you know, on and on and on. I'm someone who, I've worked around a lot of older people. When I was about 13, I was working on the cart in Mildura, and we were picking grapes and whatever. And a lot of the blokes were, you know, 50s, 60s, and working with my dad a lot. And it was always hard to fathom seeing guys that age losing all of the mates that they've grown up with. And I can't imagine how lonely, isolated, and old that would make someone feel, to think that the only thing that you had from your era is now in a coffin. Whew. Yeah, it's hard to think about. And like, I don't have a lot of friends from when I was a teenager. But I do have this one mate I was talking about. And he was a good mate. And it'd be so devastating. You know, if I ever heard that he'd kicked it in, a part of me would feel like there was nothing left from that time. No one else who remembers. And for that reason, I don't really want to get old. But it's going to happen. Not particularly looking forward to it, but I don't know. What can you do? Nothing really. And maybe my mind will change as I get older. Well, I like the saying that Jackie Chan says, right? Everyone can be young. Easy. Everyone can be young. Not everyone can be old. But at the point where if this ever happens to me, if any of my mates start dying from the era that I grew up in, man, that's going to be real tough. And that's something that I'm not looking forward to. And I hope they stay fit and healthy and live just as long as me, or outlive me, because I'd love to still see them around in my 50s and my late 50s and my 60s. Catch up, do a workout. Hell yeah. I hope so. Woo! I mean, I never really had any friends anyway, so I'll be right. But there is something very special about the era that you grew up in. I think a lot of memories and new experiences happen when you're a teenager because, you know, it's your first kiss, it's the first time you've done this, it's the first time you've heard about this, it's the first few times you've been getting in some good gym sessions and, you know, your first parties and your first that and your first this. And before the monotonous wheel of life kicks in and it's just the same old, same old, same old, same old. When you're a teenager, everything's new and fresh and exciting, and you know, it's the first time you listen to this music. I think most people's musical tastes form around the age of, you know, between 13 and 15. Well, I started playing music when I was 14. I mean, my first musical tastes were Mozart. That somehow led to Eminem. And everything in between, you know, Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan and all of the great musicians in between. And so there's something very special about that time period. And I feel like if you lost all of your friends from that time period, you don't have anyone to talk to who gets it. Because the younger generations, they might be great people, they might be great to talk to, but they don't understand because they weren't there. So maybe that's what it feels like to get old. And I don't really have many friends from that period. So if I did lose the handful of people that I could talk to, I'd feel pretty isolated. I think I'd feel pretty old. I hope that never happens. And I've seen it happen to my dad. And, you know, wasn't easy. You know, you're not even 60 and all your mates die. Now, who have you got to talk to and relate to about growing up in the 70s? And then it's just you. Last man standing. funny. I never really liked rap music. I always liked classical music because the first music I ever heard was Mozart. And it sounded like music straight from heaven, so you can imagine when I first heard rap music. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, it sounded like it came straight from hell. And the first time I heard rap music, ironically, was at my mate's place I've been talking about, and he was blasting Eminem and Tupac, and I wasn't into it. In fact, I couldn't stand it. I wanted it to just put on some Mozart, but it was his place, and I wasn't going to tell him how to use his own stereo system, so I just put up with it. And it's funny, that may have been the first place I learned to become truly open-minded, because after several years of hanging out there, I learned to kind of enjoy the rap music for what it was. And I discovered, well, the beats are pretty clever, really. The lyrics are pretty smart. The music's actually pretty driving, and intelligently, it's actually quite witty. And I learned, you know, going from absolutely hating it, I learned to appreciate it for what it was. And even sometimes I'd find myself enjoying it. And when I left there, I didn't play rap music for probably another 10 years because it just wasn't my thing. And recently, a couple of years ago, I was living by myself, and you know, all of that whole thing where you couldn't get more than 20 people in a room happened. You know, the whole worldwide freak out over some disease, yeah, that happened. And I'm living in this house, and I wasn't allowed to have any visitors over, and so for a whole year I just lived in a house by myself and got pretty lonely. I started thinking about the past, and I remembered those motivational speeches that I used to hear from my mate's place in the rap music. And so just for memory's sake, just for old time's sake, I started playing some Tupac and Eminem. And I don't know, I'm like, man, I'll sort of get into this. Let's get down to business. I don't got time to muck around. What is this? Well, this is kind of cool. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a deep dive into rap music and see what it's all about. And I actually watched like a whole 10-part massive documentary series on how rap music emerged, how Eminem came to be, Tupac and all the other greats, you know, Biggie and NWA and all of them. And it was very interesting, very interesting. And I ended up listening to not just Eminem and Tupac, but quite a few of the other rap artists. And yeah, I don't know, after 3 to 6 months of just listening to rap music, I started getting into it. And I'm like, you shouldn't be so close-minded, you know, you should enjoy this, appreciate it for what it is, instead of just being a crusty old fart. That's not music! We had good music when I was young, not the rubbish they're listening to now. Well, technically when I was young, it was Eminem and Tupac, but you gotta bear in mind, I didn't listen to music when I was growing up, so as far as I was concerned, music was like Mozart and Beethoven was heavy, man. So it was a big shock to me, but I don't know, I started getting into rap music, and yeah, like I said, after 6 months of just pretty much listening to rap music straight, I started to appreciate it, I did. I started to actually enjoy it. And from that experience, I decided to do that with a lot of other music that I'd previously not liked, say heavy metal. I'm like, well, I don't have to like it, but, you know, as a musician, I feel it's important to also be a music researcher to understand, why do people like metal? Why do people like rap? Why do people like jazz? Hey, some people hate pop. Why do some people love pop? Some people don't like rock and roll. I don't understand those people, but some people don't. I love rock and roll. Rock and roll is the best. Why is this music listened to? Even if I hate it, why do people like it? What can I draw from that music to inspire me to play in my own music. You know, some of my best music has been inspired by some of the most hated musical genres like rap and heavy metal, and even jazz is not really that appreciated. And so I learned to just sort of do a deep dive into these musical genres and enjoy them. And so, you know, now, like, man, I'll listen to anything. If there's a subset of people who enjoy it, then there must be something about it. And I don't just want to walk up like a snob and be like, well, I appreciate fine, tasteful, classical music like from Mozart. What is this rap crap that you kids are listening to these days? Absolute rubbish. Because when you actually get into it, some of it's pretty damn witty. Some of it's pretty damn good. And I don't want to be that closed-minded a-hole that just shuts it down. So, interestingly enough, that was where the roots of rap music was born in me. And now I absolutely love rap music. I mean, not all rap music. I really... There's some new rap music I can't stand. But there are some great rap hits, man. And like, coming from someone who absolutely hated the genre, I discovered that it was better to be open-minded and not be a judgmental prick. And after appreciating rap music, it has actually benefited my piano playing and heavy metal music and all the other genres that are not so favoured. It has benefited my piano playing out of sight. And there really is good in any genre. So that's what that taught me. And now I can enjoy some of the great rap hits. And it's becoming a past era now, a forgotten era. I think we'll look back on it and we'll think, man, the rap era was great. This is the problem. Anything that's new, anything that's innovative, you know, the orthodoxy turns up their nose at it until it's too late and they're all dead, and then we go, oh, actually, it wasn't so bad after all. So I'm trying to not be that guy. Yeah! 300, baby! Woo! Anyway, I gotta go to the dunny, because you all needed to know. This is the last thing that I want to say, and that's that I want success so bad. Or do I? So the question is, if I want success so bad, I'll be up every morning doing this shit. Working out, editing, putting videos out. I'd love to be a big music star. I'd love to do all of this stuff that I've wanted to do with my life. How am I going to do that? Boring daily routine. That's how I'm going to do it. And in the past, I've thought I've wanted success. Thought I have. But did I? Did I? Because I think I wanted to play games more. I think I wanted to eat food more. I think I wanted to party more. I wanted to be a millionaire in the past. I wanted to be a millionaire. Or did I? See, I didn't. I wasn't doing the work. I didn't want to learn about tax. I didn't want to learn about all the boring stuff. But I wanted to be a millionaire. Nah, I didn't. That's off. I wanted the money. I didn't want the work. I didn't want the lifestyle. What I really wanted more than all of that was a comfortable life. And I had it. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted because that's what I did. Whereas now, I want money. I want to be a millionaire. Hell yeah, I do. And how do I know that? Because I'm spending 3 to 5 hours of every single day sitting on the mole with my Bluetooth headphones on, researching about tax and accounting and wealth creation and investing and scaling a business and everything that I need to know. That's how I know it. And I'm doing it. And I'm putting it into practice. And I want success. And how do I know that? Because I'm showing up every day. I wake up at 12 o'clock every single morning. I do my workout. I edit my videos. I put it out there. I want exposure. I'm giving myself exposure. I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing all of this stuff. That's how I know I want it. That's how I know I want it. And if I continue to want it, then I'll continue to do it. And that's how you know if you want wealth or not. Are you researching about tax? Are you doing all the dirty work? Because, man, it's easy to sit there and dream about becoming a millionaire, but unless you're doing it, you don't really want it. Not really. Not really. And the moral of the story is you need to want it with your actions, not your words. Not your words. And the final thing is motivation starts after you do the thing.
All I gotta do is stay in this moment.
I realized once I calmed my mind down and sat back and looked at how jacked up this world is, once you realize that you are not alone, everybody that's talking to you about how jacked up you are, only thing they've done better than you is they hidden their fucked up world better than you have. That's all they've done. A lot of times I'll be in tours of my run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office,
what if I can pull this off? Alright, fuck everybody!
There's an opportunity, I'll try to jump on it. And any fears I have, I won't run from it. 'Cause all I gotta do is stay in this moment. Everything I see, it could inspire. So I search the world to get re-inspired. I must reshape myself now and stop this getting down. 'Cause all I gotta do is stay in this moment.
$4.20. Not that funny. I'm gonna show you something. That is 100,000 times the speed of the time lapse. That is ridiculous. They don't eat chicken. They're my relatives. Yeah.
Meantime, all around my whole life fades. I can't bear the thought that it's too late.
I don't care what happens to me. I just want to be whatever the person it is that becomes this. Come on, it's so close to finish. Just please hurry up and do it. Just do it. I just want to become whatever the person is that goes through all this work. That's the personality I want, whatever that happens to be. Yes. video has exported. Awesome. Awesome. Alright, I'm done. I can post that and go to work now, which will be fun. So I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.
In this moment.